Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, well, I've got a very exciting Omega level deck tech for you on Hashaton Scarab's Fist, most definitely worth the title of Omega level commander. This commander is taking over Magic right now, the most popular commander right now ever since this got revealed. There are so many decks being built around it. A 1/3 zombie wizard for 2 mana in Orza, but it is an Esper commander. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 and a blue. If you do create a token, that's a tap token of it, a zombie that is a 4/4. Yeah, so basically just, hey, discard things and sheet on the cost, making just 4/4s, but massive implications, getting token copies of just huge creatures with huge effects. Yeah, on this episode, I'm going to be taking you through the strategy, taking you through how we win, taking you through the price of this deck, and again, even though this commander itself is $6, it's a very budget-friendly version of it, and then, of course, taking you through the tactics. Let's jump into it. First up, when it comes to the strategy, we are going to be discarding huge creatures freely to cheat on cost. Yeah, very simple, very effective. Basically, get out some discard outlets, including very free discard outlets, to discard creatures whenever we want to. Basically, cheat on the timing of when we get those creatures into play as well, and just pay 3 mana instead of absurdly high cost to get a 4/4 token copy of them. When it comes to winning, very simple, very effective. Demolish your opponents with massive effects and a massive army. Again, these massive effects can happen just by, again, creature ETBs that normally would cost a ton of mana to get into play. Instead, it's just like, oh yeah, okay, I discard this for free. I pay 3 mana. Massive effect immediately, and also I am building up my army to just decimate you in absolutely no time. And something that will not be decimated is, well, your wallet. Your wallet will not be decimated because it's a $32 deck. Again, very budget-friendly. Even again, with the commander itself being $6, the rest of the deck really makes up for that. A lot of cards, 50 cents or less. Very, very budget-friendly. If you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that Decklist link in the description below. Yeah, a lot more budget-friendly than a pre-con itself. So, starting things off with tactic number 1, we're going to be talking about some amazing free discard outlets. Again, anytime we want to, just discard a creature card and all of a sudden play it basically for just 3 mana. That is huge. These are the Tireless Tribe Nomads that are massive for us. Again, turn 1 play for us, get it down, discard a card, +0/+4 until I turn. A good blocker for us as well. But again, what we care about is just the free discard outlet aspect. Cabal Initiate, basically give it, lifelink, we discard a card. We don't really care what they do for the most part. Ghostly Pilferer, discard for free, makes it unblockable. On top of that, you can actually pay 2 and it comes untapped to draw a card, which is nice. On top of that, any of those pesky Prosper players out there, opponents casting spells from anywhere other than hand, draw cards. It can be a massive draw engine for us too. Guardian of Nubenalia, though, this one helps out in a different way. Discard a card, gains indestructible turn, tap it, so it can be protected as well. A discard outlet that can stay in play. Also some unleashed shenanigans in Scrying. Nice. Seasoned Hollowblade, again, a way to protect itself. Discard a card, indestructible until I turn, tap it. Trained Pronghorn, discard a card from your hand, prevent all damage to be dealt to it, so a great blocker for us, or, if an opponent has, like, a red damage-based board wipe, cool, keep it in play. That being said, what we care about, free discard outlet. Cephalid Ink Shrouder, one that can protect itself as well, becomes unblockable and gets shrouded when we discard that card. Patchwork Gnomes, discard a card, regenerate again, so stays in play for us. Fantatog can actually hit pretty hard at a certain point, discard a card from your hand, or sacrifice enchantment, ++1, either way, but yeah, what we care about is, that discarding, not the sacrificing of enchantments. Scourge Familiar, this one is huge, probably my favorite discard outlet. Flyer, discard a card, add a black mana. So basically now, all of a sudden, you just paid for 1 of that 3 mana to actually make those tokens, those zombie tokens. That is huge. Dream Trawler, though, I love this one as well. 3/5, Flying Lifelink, draw a card, +1/+0 until end of turn, so this can hit really hard. Tax, draw a card. Nice, so some extra card advantage there. On top of that, discard a card, gains Hex for 12 turn, tap it. So again, free discard out that protects itself. Next up, Populate is a fantastic mechanic that works really well with this commander because, again, our commander is making token copies of our creatures. Now we can just cast, like, Wake Reflections, and all of a sudden you pay a single mana, you populate. You put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of a creature token you control. So, again, that can be a token that has a massive effect, and all of a sudden, I just paid 1 mana to get an extra copy of it. That's, again, a 4/4 that has that massive effect as well. Promise of Aklazotz, a repeatable populate effect for us. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a non-demon creature. If you do populate, Yeah, plenty of great things to sacrifice to make extra giant copies of our things. Or, if you actually cast the adventure part, that's nice too, but we really just care about the populating. Muster of the Departed. Enters the battlefield, make a 1/1 flyer. Cool. Morbid, though, more important, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you populate. Yeah, plenty of ways to make that happen. Rootborne Defenses, though. Populate, creature controller indestructible this turn. A Grave will protect our entire team. On top of that, populating in the meantime. Eyes in the Skies, instant speed population. Create a 1/1 bird and also populate. So yeah, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, you get an extra copy of one of your best creatures on the board. Moving on to our next tactic, Value Town. All these cards I'm going to be talking about in this tactic just give us so much value. Starting off with Intangible Virtue. Very tangible in the benefit it gives us. Enchant for 2 mana. Creature tokens you control, +1 and have Vigilance. Now all of a sudden, our entire army are now 5/5s instead of 4/4s, and also can swing vigilantly so we can keep them back on defense too. Levitation can help them get through, though. Flying Zombies! Creature 12 flying. All of our creatures have flying now as well. A great way to give them evasion, get them through in combat, or also make them more effective blockers too. Body Double, a clone that helps out in a weird way. 0/0 Shapeshifter. Enter the battlefield with a copy of any creature card in a graveyard. Includes our graveyard, of course, as well. And yeah, with us just discarding massive creatures, yeah, very simply become a copy of one of those, please. Thank you. Sunscorched Region, a 4/3 dragon with flying. When your opponent casts a spell, you get a counter on this and you gain 1 life. This can become absolutely massive throughout the game and gain us a ton of life. And again, sure, it's a 4/4 zombie flying dragon now too. Cool, why not? Daring King of Keldor, a really sneaky play. I love this. A 3/3, so it actually gets bigger when we make the token copy of it. Human Soldier. Whenever you're dealt damage, you make that many 1/1 soldiers. All of a sudden, opponent's attacking you. You're like, oh, okay, I discard this out of nowhere. I make a copy of it for 3 mana, and oh, you hit me for a ton? Cool, I get a massive army. A goodbye. Speed of armies, though, Gravespawn, Sovereign, a 3/3 zombie, tap 5 untap zombies you control, put target card from a graveyard on battlefield you control. This is where things get really weird in Magic-wise. Alright, okay, I discard creatures to make copies of them, but then the copies of the creatures tap to actually bring the actual creatures back. Yeah, reanimate your dead army, essentially, that you discarded with the creature tokens that are copies of them. Absolutely huge. Speaking of zombies, though, Newscraft Mob. Enters with 5 counters on it. So again, when you make that token copy of it, that's a 4/4. It is a 9/9 already, a huge thing. On top of that, whenever a player casts a spell and move a counter from it, I'll get slightly smaller, but also you're making a bunch of 2/2 zombies. You're going wide with it. Sister Hospitalizer. This one is huge. A 3/2 human cleric. Whenever it enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its mana value. This is massive. This is, again, discard it, pay 3. Yeah, you get a bigger version of it. Again, a 4/4. You also reanimate whatever you want out of your graveyard, bring it back and gain a ton of life. And if that's Blazing Archon, that is 9 life gained, which is a huge effect, though. 5/6 flyer. Okay, it's slightly smaller if we just get the zombie version of it. That's okay. But creatures can't attack you. That is massive. Just all of a sudden, like, oh, okay, that player's about to go to combat. I don't trust them. They've got this massive army. Yeah, I'll just discard this, pay 3, and all of a sudden, you can't attack me. None of you can attack me. It's in play. Thank you. Next up, let's talk about various forms of removal. One with All-Seeing Arbiter, which can be a pretty weird form of removal, but a very good one. 5/4 flyer. Okay, only slightly smaller with the zombie version of it, though. Enters the battlefield or attacks, draw 2, discard a card. That's nice. Again, the free discard right there. And again, repeatable card advantage / discard. On top of that, though, whenever you discard a card, target creature opponent controls gets -X, -0 until your next turn, where X the number of different mana value cards in your graveyard. So essentially, hey, let's shrink that creature down to size so you're not hitting me with basically anything. Ha! Drained Welk, though, 1/1 flash flying. So again, gets bigger as a zombie version of it. Enters the battlefield, counter target spell, and get X counters on or X that spell's mana value. Again, we can actually just, it's got flash, yeah, pay 6, or just discard it with one of our discard outlets. Pay just 3 mana for this instead. Counter any spell and make this thing absolutely massive. Steel Hellkite. 5/5 flyer, slightly smaller as a zombie dragon. Pay 2, you can get fire breathing. More importantly, they'll pay X to destroy each non-land permanent. Mana value X is control result combat damage by this X only once each turn. Basically, a repeatable source of wipe out things at the same mana value on players. Angel of the Ruins. You can actually cycle this away itself by plane cycling, so do keep that in mind. That being said, enters the battlefield, takes up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments, a great source of removal. Butcher of Malakir. This thing is huge. 5/4. So again, slightly smaller version as the zombie flyer. Whenever it or their creature control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Good luck to them keeping anything in play. And with Junkbinder, good luck to keeping anything untapped. A 5/6 Serpent with affinity for tokens. Just plays for just 2 mana. Or again, cheating to play with your commander. Whenever a token you control enters, tap target non-land permanent opponent controls. It does it untap your controller's next untap step. yeah, again, you're going to have a lot of zombies come to play, and you're going to be shutting things down here, there, and everywhere. Illuminate Primordial, a 4/7 Vigilant Avatar, again, 4/4 zombie, who cares? Enters the battlefield for each opponent, basically Swords of Plowshares, one of their creatures that is huge. Overseer the Damned, 5/5 flyer, 4/4, it's okay. Enters the battlefield, destroy target creature. Whenever a non-token creature Poke controls dies, you make a 2/2 black zombie. So yeah, basically, wipe something out, and also, throughout the game, make a ton of zombies. And speaking of wiping things out, Tace has got something to say about that. Kind of like Darian, this is a fun way to just, gotcha, opponent. 4/4, so you lose absolutely nothing by this being a zombie. Vigilance, protection from creatures. Swing freely, they're never going to be able to block you, and also block whatever you want. On top of that, creature deals combat damage to you, all of a sudden you destroy that creature, make a 1/1 spirit. So yeah, again, opponent swings at you, not knowing that you've got this in your hand, you discard it, make a copy of it, and you say, okay, all your creatures that hit me, they're gone, and I make a bunch of spirits. Thank you. Ashen Rare, speed of taking things out, 5/5 flyer, slightly smaller as a zombie, enters the battlefield or dies, exile a permanent. That can be absolutely huge. Next up, card advantage and card selection spells. Again, we've already talked about plenty of ways to dig through our deck, but we also have ways like this to dig through our deck. Frantic Search, a great one. Basically a free card, untap 3 lands by playing it, draw 2, discard 2. Cure Mysteries, we can cycle this away itself, so do keep that in mind. That being said, your cycle or discard another card, scry 1. So a ton of card selection throughout the game by just having this in play. Distant Melody, choose zombie. When you do so, you draw a card for each zombie you control, which again, everything is a zombie. Tales of the Ancestors. Let's say you just don't like the cards in your hand, discard all of those, and all of a sudden you play this one. You can foretell it actually out, which is lovely. But each player with fewer cards in hand, they play with the most cards in hand, draw cards equal to difference. So yeah, go up to the highest amount, which is huge. Speaking of that, Rush of Knowledge. We talked about so many massive creatures with massive converted mana cost. This one says, hey, you know what? 5 mana, draw creatures equal to the most that you have in play. And keep in mind, those tokens that are zombies, they do hold their mana value. So again, with that Blazing Archon or whatever it was, like 9 mana or whatever it was, cool. Draw 9 for 5. Yes, please. Or you draw 6 with this one in play. Chambers of Minas Tirith. 4/6 Human Soldier, enters battlefield, become the Monarch. Yeah, you're going to be super aggressive with this deck. You're going to be able to get the Monarch back plenty. On top of that, at the beginning of combat, each opponent's turn, if you're the Monarch, the opponent may pay X for X the number of cards in their hand. They can't attack you this combat. So, yeah, if you're not willing to pay that, you can't attack me anyway. So this is like protection plus card advantage. Deep Fathom Skulker. Whenever a creature control deals combat to a player, draw a card. That can be huge. It can also make things unblockable, too. Asparagus Supreme Judge, a 6/4 flyer that says whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker control, you may draw a card. That is an absurd amount of card advantage and an absurd amount of deterrence, because if an opponent attacks you, all of a sudden you are getting cards, which of course turn into just creatures that, are in play that you cheated in play. Lovely. Sphinx of Enlightenment, another great Sphinx, 5/5 flyer, enters target opponent, draws a card, you draw 3, you're getting the better end of that deal, of course. Inspired Sphinx, another great Sphinx, enters the battlefield, basically draw 3, 1 for each opponent you have. You can also make Thopters with it too. Diluvian Primordial, 5/5 flyer, ETB, for every opponent out of their graveyard, you get to cast it, insert a sorcery for free. That is absolutely massive. Sandstone Oracle, though, another massive effect. 4/4 flyer, ETBs, choose an opponent. If they've got more cards in hand than you, draw cards, equal the difference. So again, that player's got 7. You know what? I'll just discard these other cards. I'll just cheat this out. All of a sudden, yeah, I get to draw up to 7. Thank you. Sphinx of Athun, yet another great Sphinx for us. 5/6 flyer, ETB, basically fact or fiction. Finally, when Reader Sphinx, here we talked about so many things with flying, and of course Levitation gives everything flying for us, or opponents might have things with flying, but whenever any of those flyers attack, we draw a card. It doesn't matter who they're attacking, what they're attacking, whose creature it is, we're drawing a card. Now let's talk about the mana sources that we have for this deck. Let's talk about our ramp. First up, there's Wayfarer's Bauble. Of course, pay 2 tap, sacrifice, get a basic land in a play tap. Azorius Signet, one of our great signets. We're going to filter our mana with it. This Dimir Signet does the exact same thing, basically, and so does Orzhov Signet, but each for their own colors. Then we've got Charcoal Diamond, enters battlefield tapped, taps for a black mana. Marble Diamond is the exact same thing, but taps for a white. And Sky Diamond, which is the exact same thing, but taps for a blue. Coalition Relic, costs 3, can tap for 1, or we can tap, put a charge counter on it. The next turn, we basically get 2 mana. Heraldic Banner enters the battlefield. We're probably going to choose black. It can tap for a black mana then and gives all of our zombies, which again are black, +1/+0. Actually, all of our black creatures. Or, if you need to pick another color, you can. But yeah, again, making our zombies hit even harder can be great. Midnight Clock, great source of card advantage for us on top, being a mana rock. Taps for a blue. You can also, pay mana to get hour counters on it, but it just gets those naturally. Once it hits that 12th hour, we basically get to Time Twister. 5 Gladriel, though. If you draw a card but have no cards in hand, draw 2 instead. Again, we've got all these free discard outlets. We can go down to 0 if we need to. Also, gaining extra life too as well if we need to. That being said, tap for 1 mana of any color. Firebound Vessel enters battlefield, taps for 2 mana of different colors. And finally, Sun Titan, a great ETB. 6/6 Vigilance, enters battlefield or attacks, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your grave of the battlefield. This is a very sneaky way to cheat lands into play with this deck, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I discard a land. I already played my land for the turn. I discard another land. All right, I attack with this. Cool, I get that land to play. Yay, next turn, do the exact same thing. Speaking of lands, let's talk about a great land with Cephalid Coliseum, a land that can tap for a blue, 1 damage just. Ouch, not really that big of a deal. Threshold, though, pay a blue, tap, sacrifice. The target player draws 3, discards 3. Active mode, we've got Threshold. We're going to have Threshold. We've got so many ways to get cards into our graveyard. Be a great way to dig down into our deck. And again, discard lots of cards for us to cheat into play. Again, Hashaton is a ton of fun, and yeah, definitely worth the title of an Omega level commander. You can do some absolutely disgusting, amazing things with those free discard outlets, and you can do a lot of really cool things once you get it going. A lot of fun. If you are interested in this deck, make sure you check out that deck list link in the description below. Again, very budget friendly, even though the commander itself is $6, very budget friendly indeed. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. As always, comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.